You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're rolling.
We're rolling, and we're doing this almost live. After,
Yes, almost live. Yeah.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Peggy.
You're watching the Junction Fiber Mill Millcast.
Yeah, number 36.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's already 36.
So we're back together, and it's been a while.
Yeah, you've seen us together the past 2 weeks, but actually those were pre-recorded episodes, and now this is our first live.
Yeah, so I'm seeing you this morning for the first time in 2 weeks.
And I escaped for the floods.
Yeah. You missed something. It was crazy.
I know, we were a little disappointed not to be here for it. It felt like one of those things, everyone was talking about it. We were sort of just watching the news. We were in England, which I'll tell you more about later, but it sounded wild. I saw
it was wild.
Footage of the Queechee and I thought Simon Pierce was going to get washed away. It was wild.
I forgot. I got down to the bottom of my hill the next day, and I did a little bit of video of the White River. I had never seen the White River so high,
really,
so angry. It was something else. Let me say, thank you all who reached out and wanted to know if we were all right. We were fine. The mill was fine. Everybody on our staff was fine. Clearly, Vermont had some damage, but in our little area, while we got a torrential amount of rain and the rivers were crazy, we did not have the kind of damage. Montpelier, oh my God.
Yeah.
Mary Margaret at Notions, I am so sorry what happened to your store, and we are thinking of you. That was tough stuff. So,
I was so relieved. I sent you that email, like, how is the mill? I was like, we're kind of close to the river here in White River Junction.
Yeah, we are. In fact, we're two buildings, and we're in one building, and there's another that's part of the complex. And in the very far corner, when we were first moving in, they were digging up holes and all this stuff, and the owner of the property over there was, pardon me, bitching and moaning because its corner was in flood zone.
Yeah.
And so they had to do all this extra work.
Well, thank goodness
they did, because who knows.
And they just recently paved and put in like some new drainage.
Yeah, more drainage,
And that's good because we don't even have a basement or anything. It just comes right in the building. But,
no.
Thankfully the mill is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And and we are doing okay.
We are. There are sections that are going to take a long time to recover, but I think because of Irene, when in 2011, when the state went through Hurricane Irene, that whole expression "Vermont strong," the resilience and the ability to jump into action was real.
Yeah.
People automatically knew to volunteer, knew to have systems to communicate. That effort paid off this time around.
Yeah, and we're looking at some sunshine outside right now, but unfortunately there's still rain in the forecast, and we're still under flood watches right now.
It has, it was raining before the torrential downpour, and it has continued to rain.
It was raining before. I think Cody took Maeve to the Midwest, and that's when I remember it starting. Because he left and it started raining, and that was like 5 weeks ago.
And it hasn't stopped. Everything is absolutely saturated.
Yeah. Which, we complain a lot about the drought here. Like last year.
Last year was totally drought, and now it's the opposite. I don't know about your garden, but I have green plants. I have no flowers. I have no fruits. And I don't have to water, but it's kind of depressing.
I know. Everything is just soggy out there. And the poor sheep. You had some major sheep chores to do regarding the rain.
Well, we had to check them for worms. It's just what you do, especially. So the big threat to sheep is parasites in their guts, and you need to check them regularly. But when there's this kind of sustained rain, those parasites flourish. The eggs on the grass flourish, so you have to be really on top of it. And in the pouring rain yesterday, we loaded them all into the barn. The barn has, a metal roof, and it's just, all this noise from the rain coming down. And the sheep, I don't know if they'll ever be dry again. There's been no chance.
As we all know, wool when wet soaks up a lot of water, so those animals cannot
So
be
we were
comfortable.
deworming and checking soggy sheep.
Sounds like a fun chore.
It was a
Sounds like a
show.
smelly chore.
But the flock is good.
Great.
The lambs are growing well. We've sold quite a few for breeding stock, and those folks are coming soon to pick up the sheep, which is part of also deworming and giving them vaccines. But oh my God, what a mess.
Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of talk on the sheep and goat listserv about all the sorts of things that happen because of the flooding.
Fly strike. You know, who's you want to look for trouble? Oh yeah. Anyway,
boy.
How was England?
England was lovely. It was 2 weeks, so we really got to spend some quality time together.
Yeah.
The flight there was a little rough. Maeve decided to not sleep despite it being an overnight flight, and then when we got there, we ended up having a much longer drive to our final stop than we thought.
It was an overnight flight, and she did not sleep at all on the flight?
She slept like, you know, when they serve you the dinner, she was asleep during the dinner, and then the minute they take the dinner away and it's like lights out, ready for everyone to sleep, then she like snapped to and was just, I ended up being the person just walking the aisles the whole time with the baby.
I've seen that, yeah.
Everyone was really lovely. Like, you know, at the end of the flight, I was like, I'm so sorry, everybody, because she was, of course, crying and screaming at times. And they were like, oh, she's fine. You're fine. We've been there. Yeah. So I was thankful for the kindness of people, but it was tough the first day. But I'm not going to dwell on that. The good part was we were in, like, sheep-loving country. So we immediately got from, you know, we flew into London, we rented a car, and we drove up to what's called the Lake District, which is in the northwest of England. You may have heard of James Rebank. James Rebank, thank you.
The shepherd's life.
Yeah, the herdy shepherd. He is all about, I mean, people are crazy about Herdwick sheep up there, and they are everywhere. They're pretty cute, fiber, meh. But what's really interesting is, like, lambing was not so long ago, right? So there's lambs everywhere, still nursing.
Oh, good.
And with the Herdwicks, they start dark when they're lambs.
Right.
And they lighten to white as they age. So you can tell what the ages are. And it's so funny to see these, like, bright white Herdwick moms with their black, like, with white faces, like, little lambs, like, come over to them and nurse. And that was great. We saw a lot of Texel sheep as well. But what we ended up doing is we did, like, Maeve and I did most of the Cumbrian Way. Cody did all of the Cumbrian Way, and I'll tell you why.
What is the Cumbrian Way?
It is a footpath, like the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
I think it's like 75 or so miles. The first section is not that nice. It's overnight. So I think we spent 4 or 5 nights, overnights doing it, and you book bed and breakfast.
Yep.
And what we did is we sent our luggage ahead, so we just were hiking with our day packs. We had Maeve in the backpack, and then, you know, the other one of us mostly me, had the little tiny backpack with just water and stuff.
Right.
But then you walk and you just start going through, you know, there was some mountain type stuff, but mostly it was like in the valleys. It was along beautiful farms, bucolic as anything.
Wow.
You know, it was, you know, tons of different gate structures. And there it's so different than here because you can walk across privately owned lands.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so all these public footpaths cross private lands, including farmland. So they have to trust you to open the gate and go through and then you know, through another gate on the other side. So every day we were crossing like 10, 20 different gates to get in and out of places.
Wow.
Very cool gate designs. We were a little inspired because I think we're going to redo some of our gates at some point.
All right, good.
But yeah, what else can I say? So we did the Cumbrian Way. Oh yeah, I was going to mention. So we were supposed to drop our car in the first town along the journey, and then, you know, Cody was going to take public transit to meet us at the second part so that it was easier to go back by public transit and pick up the car. And he gets there and texts me, I think I'm just going to go for it. I think I'm just going to walk it back or run it back or whatever. So 18 miles. He puts the little day pack on, leaves the car, and instead of taking the bus, just ran up to meet us.
Wow.
I know. Well, Maeve and I had quite a nice day ourselves. We did a little hike, and I'm sure I'm putting photos up on top of this as I'm talking. But yeah, it was really cool. We ate a lot of cream teas, which are like, you have your little tea and then you have your scone with clotted cream and jam. That was lovely. Maeve found out that she loves peas, which they have everywhere.
That's good.
Yeah, so every night we'd get to a place, and if there was nothing on the menu that I think she'd love, I ordered her just like a side of peas, and she just happily ate her peas.
Perfect. Swimming in butter?
I have no idea. Yeah,
that's what make me eat peas.
They were delicious. But yeah, the food was pretty good, especially after walking all day. And then after we were done with the Cumbrian Way, we went down to Cornwall, which is, if you don't know England, on the absolute opposite side of the country. It's like someone saying, I'm coming to America. I'm going to do New York and California. And everyone we met up in, in the Lake District were like, I've never been to Cumbria or to Cornwall before. But we drove all the way down there. We got to see the sea a little bit. We went to Land's End, which is like the farthest you can get. Of course, there's Ireland also past there. And that was really cool. And then we were in London for a few days. So it was
Wow.
a whirlwind trip.
Yeah,
we made
but
it back.
You packed it in.
Yes, we did England.
You did England. Well, excellent.
Yeah, it was great. I did zero knitting while I was there. I was kind of bummed I didn't bring my knitting along because there were a lot of nights, with an infant, or I guess she's more of a toddler now. She's walking, folks. With a toddler in our room every night, luckily they all had the pack and plays at every place we stayed, but it was
Good.
lights out at like 8 o'clock every night. So we were just sitting there with our phones, like trying not to wake Maeve up. But other than night one, she was an angel. She did great.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, the mill clicked along, but you were missed.
Thank you.
Missed.
Thank you.
You were missed. I missed you.
I'm sure you guys didn't miss me one bit.
Not true. Not true. But we
got a good team here. That's
we
what
have
I mean.
we have a tight team.
Yeah.
Emily and I, and we've added some other folks that are helping us out, Eileen and Liz, and boy, it was all making tracks all the time. In part because we mentioned and we did an episode on that H&H wholesale convention that I went to, and we came back with a lot of orders, and my feeling was we needed to get those fulfilled, and it really kind of drained the inventory that we had. So
Yep.
we just started extending our hours. A couple times I'd come in at 7, and there'd be somebody going till 5 or 6, and we were a factory, and we were cranking it. We got a lot done.
Great.
And really got our systems going. We did a lot of dyeing.
Yep.
I can't say it flew by, but
Yeah.
we definitely clicked along. So
Yeah,
it
it
was,
seems like you all did a lot. Looking around the mill right now, there is
Yeah.
a lot of colorful
Colors-
stuff
Yeah.
in all states.
Yeah. In fact, so I'll show you a couple of things we did do. We had some making tracks here that we've replenished. This is Leaves in the Brook, which I really love. The middle one, which goes nicely with it, is
it sure
the Aurora
does.
Borealis, and then Lookout Ledge. And I'd say this is 1/9 of all that we did in our 2-week stint. And we're going to do a little more making tracks so that we know that we can finish up those wholesale orders. And then
not only that, we've got Rhinebeck on the horizon.
We got Rhinebeck on the
we're
horizon.
in Vermont sheep and wool.
Yep.
So even though it's a few months till these major festivals,
Right.
I think we are very cognizant of getting our inventory up at this
right,
point.
and we've got some custom processing clients that are
Yes.
going to be at Rhinebeck that are also waiting on their wool. So we're going to stay busy throughohout the summer.
Yeah, and I noticed you did a lot of carding.
Yep.
There's a lot of custom processing.
Yep, we are
teed up and
good.
ready to go. So that's great.
And a while back, we told you we put in new windows, and I have to say, we in addition to the rain, we have had some unbelievable hot weather here and humidity, and I think these insulated windows have helped a lot.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I think they've helped
so
a
they're
lot.
not trapping it in. They're actually
Well, what we're trying to do is first thing in the morning when it was
Open
cooler
it up.
outside, open everything up, get the fans going,
Yep.
try to cool it down, and then once the sun comes up and around, close everything off. And I'm not saying, I mean, it was still
Yeah.
85.
How's it been with scouring? Did you do much scouring on the hot days?
No, we kind of paced ourselves on the scouring.
The scouring, folks, we use 180 degree water.
Yeah.
It's just, it basically makes it
Yeah.
a steam bath in here. And
Yeah.
I reckon you don't need any extra humidity.
No, we did one big batch that's got one bag left that I'm
Okay.
on right now. But no, we'll be back at it
Yep.
because we got ahead
Yeah.
on that. So
Yeah, well, hopefully the rain breaks at some point and we get some drier weather here. We really need it.
yeah, here's in 4 months or 4 weeks from now, we'll be doing a Millcast going, oh my God, we need the rain, the drought conditions. That'll be terrible.
We
for
always
saying
have
that.
something to say about the weather
that would be
here.
awful if we're having to say that. But yeah, a little less rain wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the making tracks has been clicking along, but I have to tell you, there was this guy.
Yeah.
I should rephrase it. There's this email that came in, and the email address was from someone with the name Tom, and they wanted to make an appointment to come see the mill and to buy some yarn. And this is a terrible stereotype. I don't know why. I just assumed it was a woman who was, using her husband's email address.
That happens all the time here, actually.
Yeah, it
we
does.
get a lot of
I did. So
shared
I,
emails.
that was fine. I replied, yeah, fine. We'll see. I can't remember. I think it was maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. So at the appointed time, Tom, the real Tom, shows up at the front door, and I said, great, it's great to see you. And he has this massive Stonewall kitchen bag, And he said, I brought you and Amanda a gift. And I said, so not necessary. Come on in. And it was a delightful gift from Stonewall for each of us. And then I did the tour and started chatting with him. He had driven up from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and he was on his way to York, Maine. He said it was only going to be a couple of hours out of the way, and I wanted to see the mill. And I was kind of like, it sounds like you're kind of familiar with us. And he stopped and he goes, "Oh, I've seen every one of your Millcasts."
Oh, Tom.
And he said, "And by the way, I've come with my shopping list." And Tom bought some Savage Heart Farm yarns as base and making tracks to do colorways for 2 sweaters for himself. And he was way into it. And I said, "Tom, when did you learn how to knit?" And he said, "Well, I retired last November, and my daughter said they really thought that I should take up knitting." And I don't remember if he used the word I'm intense, but he seemed to say, when I take something on, I take it on. Yeah. And so he Googled everything there was about knitting, and that's how he came across our Millcast.
I love it.
And he started out making small blankets, and he's been working his way up to small sweaters, and now he's jumping into these 2 big projects. Tom, it was a total pleasure meeting you.
I'm sorry I missed you, Tom, but thank you for the gift basket.
It was really a delightful of you to make the time on your journey. I hope you had a good time in Maine.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm really excited to hear about this mystery.
Yeah, so we put on our little list that there's this mystery.
Okay, I don't know about this.
Okay, why am I in a weepy mood? We have, and I think we've said this before, the sun shines over this little mill.
Yeah.
I mean, good things happen. We are very, very fortunate. People, when we're in need, people seem to appear and solve things that are making noises we don't know, et cetera, et cetera. Well, last Thursday, I'm working the spinner. Todd happens to be here. He's working the carter. Somebody comes in, and I'm involved with the spinner. I can't really look away. So Todd just steps in, welcomes, and it was a guy with his wife and young daughter, maybe in her late teens, early 20s. And Todd's got it. He's heard the tour often enough. He knows the drill.
Yeah.
And he's talking to them, and then they headed back, and I'm thinking, they're just going to go back and look at yarn. So I keep working on the spinner. And I keep working on the spinner, and I'm like I'm hearing conversation. I'm thinking, I wonder if something's wrong. So I was able to stop the spinner for a moment, and I go back there. This guy, his name is Dave. Dave lives in Rhode Island. He and his wife were up to take their daughter to take a look at the Cartoon Studies school, which is literally just over here. It's a fabulous school on all things to do with graphic arts and cartooning. And their daughter is going to be a student there in August. And they had been going to the diner at the 4 races, and he had left his hat.
Yeah.
So when he went back to get his hat, his wife said, "Oh, go in the mill. We went by it once. Go in the mill." I was like, "Okay, you came back. You went into the mill." You know what he does for a living? He repairs cone winders.
No way!
Do you know what kind of cone winders he repairs?
Let me guess. Lisona.
And there are 4 or 5 different kinds of Lisona winders, and he used to do all of them. But now he does only one, and he focuses only on one.
No
Guess
way.
what? On the one we have that I have not been able to get to work.
This has been Peg's project.
I've had help. I've had help here, there. I've replaced the belts. I've cleaned it, but I know there's certain things missing. And this guy Dave looks at it and he goes, "Oh yeah, you're missing such and such part. I've got that in several different sizes, and you need this, and I've got that too."
No
and I'm
way.
like, "Get out of here!" I said, "You're gotta be kidding." He goes, "Yeah, I can." And he said, and I said, "Can I plug it in?" And I plugged it in, and it's working. He goes, "This is a great cone winder.
Wow.
Don't get rid of it.
Okay.
I can fix it. I'm going to be back on August 25th. I'll bring all the parts. If for any reason I can't get it, I'll throw it in the truck. I'll bring it back and I'll fix it. But I'm very certain from what I've seen, I'll just bring the parts. I'll text you to confirm when I'm coming."
Who are these people, folks?
I mean,
this is amazing.
How random is that?
That is like, you preface this correctly by saying the sun does tend to shine on this little mill. We had a part that we needed from one of our can coilers, this like really specific cog, and it led me to just ask a friend once who introduced me to his friend, and then we have John who built us our amazing hanker.
Right.
Like, we have been able to find these people, and maybe they exist everywhere. It's not that rare, but
but it's like of all the gin joints,
totally.
in Casablanca.
So what's his name? Dave?
His name is Dave.
Thank you, Dave. If you're watching this, that is terrific.
It's unbelievable.
Oh my God,
it's unbelievable. I was just like,
the minute you said they went in the back, I was like, I can kind of see where this is.
This
going.
is heading towards the cone winder.
Yeah, I've been sitting in the far back.
Hell-bent on getting this thing to work because I know when it works well, it's one of the best.
Yes, and people do. It's like their little darling favorite. Like people hold on to these.
Right.
We've had other folks who've offered like, don't get rid of this. We would take it, like blanket makers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, the key is if you want to do any weaving, you need to have your yarn up on cones.
Yeah, you don't want it
skeins.
on a skein like this. You want it on cone so that it can come right off.
And so you can put a whole bobbin's worth on a cone. So we've been talking about different opportunities for the mill, and wouldn't it be cool if we did? And not only that, we have custom processing customers who want to weave with it. So
and we'd like to get into for another time, but we'd like to also look at maybe being able to explore and weave with some of our,
or even getting machine knitting too. They also prefer stuff on
absolutely.
So we found Peg found this one, brought it in
on eBay.
This like mission to get this to work, and you've really thrown a lot at it.
I went to the American Precision Museum looking to see if, because I should say that this was from the 1950s, and the company is out of business. So it's all about, looking for scrap parts here and there, and that this guy is making his living taking care of something that's
amazing. Well, so we it's no small thing if we can make this one work, because we got these quoted from Ramello, which is the same company that we're getting our new spinner at, and it's not cheap to get a brand new cone winder.
No, and then you got to get it shipped from Italy and
So this would be fantastic if we got it working.
Yeah, so we'll see.
That's a great story. I love it.
Oh my gosh, random things that happen.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of great news, I wanted to give a shout out to Cody's mom.
Oh yes,
Natalie, who just finished up her chemo treatment for breast cancer, and she is, it's still a longer road, but 12 weeks of chemo is not easy, and she's done, and I'm so proud of her, and and she watches the Millcast, so I wanted to say congratulations,
Hi,
Natalie. And I'm so thrilled that you're done with chemo. And I'm sure many of our viewers are familiar with people in their lives that have gone through that. And it's so nice to be done with that.
Be on that other side.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah,
congrats. So you haven't done any knitting.
No.
I have.
Yes. And where is it?
It's so humid at my house. I have finished my
Soldatna by Boylan Knitworks.
Right. It's got this colorful yoke, and then it continues with the making tracks all the way down. It's a little snug, but I've blocked the hell out of it, and it's pinned down. But I have it down in the basement because I have a whole floor that has that spongy stuff, and I put a towel down and then I pin it down. And I went down this morning thinking, I'm sure it's dry, and it's not dry. Yeah. So next Millcast, I will have it. Will I be wearing it? We'll see. Yeah. But I'm not going to say anymore.
Well, I'm excited to see it. You were going to say you started something new.
Well, no, I was going to, maybe I'll be wearing it, I don't know. But I'd like to, now I'm ready, like, what next? I really had fun. We were doing all these solids and then all these natural colors. I'm now really into the making tracks. Yeah. I'm like, I think I got to do something mosaic that's a little maybe out there, but I don't know what.
Yeah, Peggy is finally catching on to what our customers have been raving about.
Duh. Yeah, no, so I'm kind of jazzed to start another project.
That's great. Yeah, I've got my sweater. I would have brought it in, but it's the same state I showed you a few episodes ago. It's got one sleeve. I still have
this is the ribbed?
The ribbed, so I may or may not start that or get to knitting some other stuff. So.
I have to say, when it's really hot and humid, it's really tough. It's really tough. But on some of the rainy days and also the reason I was able to finish it, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
The men's final, we did the deworming.
Yeah.
But we were recording it.
Yep.
So then we came in, and I was like, I'm going to be able to finish this watching Wimbledon, and
Was it an exciting
finish? Okay, so
people on the plane were watching it, and we were seeing trains going to Wimbledon when we were in England.
So Todd set the recorder, and it recorded, and then it stopped recording, even though he said, and then record the episode, whatever was coming up next. So right in the middle, I think it was the third match, it totally conked out, and we couldn't watch it anymore. So we learned who won.
Okay.
But what we got to see was pretty cool.
Cool.
That young man made
tennis.
it. Oh, finals and
Okay,
with the stadium.
Yeah.
Prince Harry, not Harry. William was there.
Yeah.
That whole family was there. Charlotte and Louis, the little one, wasn't there.
Okay, I don't know.
Anyway,
We were literally visiting Buckingham Palace, and I was like, the most exciting thing that happened was some giant pelicans from like a pond or something. Yeah, these birds were this big. And they just we were standing at Buckingham Palace by the fountain, and all of a sudden these two, I think they were pelicans, this big, came waddling down with their little loose neck and stuff. Maeve also decided she loves birds on this trip, so she saw these birds and she was like, ah!
So not fear. She wanted to.
She like ran right up to them, and I was like, oh my god, they are bigger than her, and it was hilarious. But so we did see the palace, and I think the king was in there. It's weird, it's the king now. We were a little too late for the queen's reign, but everything still says the queen on it there.
Oh, that's
it's a slow
interesting.
changeover.
That's one thing I thought would have been,
very, very, like, if they say the king, it's like tacked on and different, because she was the queen for so long. Everyone has to get new signs made.
I feel like in the United States, when a governor switches at a state, man, he gets those things changed out so fast. No, I'm governor. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's good to be back.
We're glad to have you back. And I'll have my knitting thing, and we'll have knitting next time.
Yes, we will. And thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah. Be well.
Bye.